Welcome to a day in the life of a garden, where we're going to talk about the tactical and the practical, and we're going to show you some creative ideas of different ways to use plants as well as look at them. There's tactical ways you can use them too, and we're going to share some of those with you today. So if you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe, that always helps us out. And be careful when you're driving under a porte cochere of an expensive historical mansion. My name is David Morton. I'm the Landscape Curator here at Brucemore. It's a 26-acre estate located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it's one of the few National Trust historic sites in the Midwest. And this show is about how to create this little piece of paradise in your own backyard. A day in the life of a gardener. So we have a need to be tactical and practical on this particular project that we're going to share with you today. This is a piece of art. It's called, well, we used to call it Dancing with Children, but it is no longer. It's called Children of Light. And it's a piece that Mrs. Douglas had, who, was responsible for this beautiful garden we have now. So we want it displayed here, but we also want to protect it. So what we're going to do is plant some perennials around it. Now, it'll be interesting because we don't want to hide the statue, so everything's going to have to be kind of low. But we've chosen colors of plant material that we think will look nicely with this piece in the summer. They're sort of like the night garden, grays, yellows. So let me walk you through the steps that I took in planting this, in this project so far. We usually the bed standardly is a standard 3-foot bed, generally with most garden beds. When you're coming out of a building or a piece like this. So I wanted to measure 3 feet out, and it's going to be a circle. Now it's definitely going to need some tweaking as you get finished, but you have to start somewhere, right? So I faced north and I took my little measure wheel and I got as close to the statue as I could and measured 3 feet out. And then I put a little mark there with this spray paint, turf paint, very simple stuff to use. And then I went over, but did the same thing. It did it north, south, east, and west from the Dancing Children to get a baseline. I found out I should have probably put a little more dots on here, like 2 in between each quarter that you measured, but next time. Anyway, I figured it needs to be tweaked anyway when you're done. So after I did that measuring, I got my root slayer. This is a really good plan for this to me because it's going to edge it for me. It doesn't have a point like a shovel. It goes inward, but it helps to put up the turf too easily. And it's kind of hot and dry, so it's very helpful. And I went around and cut the sod away and created the whole circle, and then looked at it and said, okay, I think we can work with this. But now we got to get all this sawed up, and we didn't want to use any machinery around the statue because it's a beautiful piece and we don't want to ruin it. So I was asked to do this by hand. So what we're doing is, now that we got the circle cut, is I've been going in and cutting a slice out of it, so to speak. It'll take some time to do this, but got it done without harming the piece. And then I just cut those squares because the thing is, you don't want to take any of the dirt with you. And I found that if you can shake it off or use another tool to get it off, you keep your soil. You don't have this big 3-inch hole that's taking all the sun. You need the root slayer or a shovel. Shovel will work. But if you have a root slayer, I would have a root slayer and a shovel. Then I like my usual hand gardening tools, so that you'll need that because you'll want to shake off dirt. Then this works after you're kind of done with a section to make sure that there's no grass in there, because you kind of want to get all the grass and the roots out of there. So I wanted to start with perennials, because perennials are something you don't have to plant every year. You just can plant them and then try to obviously maintain the little space you're planting them in. So that's one thing. If we decide that, well, you know, could use more color or more items, then we might plant some annuals in the early spring. We're going to start with perennials, and I don't want anything that's going to get too high. I rather like to plant things in odd numbers, so probably 3 different things or 5 different things maybe. So the ones that I'm considering are some lamium. They have little pink flowers and sort of a green silver leaf. Now, I question that because it's really more of a shade plant, although it does grow in the sun, but I'm afraid the color might wash out in the sun. And this is full sun now. So, Nepeta, lamium, definitely some blue fescue, and some artemisia, silver mound. And those give you varying heights, but none of them are going to get taller than the statue, or even the base of the statue. And if they did, we could easily prune them. So another tactical and practical thing to do is to plant things that maybe deer don't like. If you have a lot of deer, like we have a lot of deer. Marigolds, bunch of them, plant them right around an area that you don't want them to go into. And they're pretty, and they do kind of smell, but I think that's why the deer don't like them. A couple other plants you might consider, salvias seem to keep them away. Mints, they don't seem to like. Anything kind of like a scented geraniums, they don't like. The list goes on. Let your plantings work for you. So that was the tactical and practical. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some ways that you can use plants to your advantage, not only for their beauty, but for your advantage. Join us next time, and remember, every garden counts. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, hit the like button, the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel.